Welcome back to Keeping It Real Estate. Today we are going to be talking about safety, and that goes for realtors and our clients as well.
Yeah, it's an important subject matter, important enough that in at least Arkansas, and I think in most states, real estate agents are required to have at least 1 hour of safety continuing education a year.
I need to get my 1 hour.
Yeah. So we wanted to kind of talk about safety first for real estate agents and then what it looks like for sellers and buyers. So when you think of safety in real estate, what first comes to your mind? Is it personal or is it?
I think about it probably, I guess, personal safety and also for my clients. A lot of people call and want to look at a house and they just don't want to come by the office. They just want you to meet them over at the house. But I'll let them know that, we can't do that anymore. So
Yeah, that it's very, with all our forms now and with buyer's representation and seller's representation, it's very important that we first have a relationship with a client before we actually do the business of trying to procure a buyer for a property. And that relationship can just strictly be a one-time meeting and
Right.
conversation where you're explaining the agency agreement and going over it, getting it filled out, and having it signed. That is enough to establish a relationship. So that is why we are required to have forms signed before we show a house.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like that, and it kind of was upsetting them at first. But you got to look out for your safety too. Like, you don't know me from Adam. This is for your safety. We're gonna meet in our office, which is a public place, and we're gonna kind of get to know each other a little bit before we just go look at random houses.
Yeah, buying and selling a house is not a small venture.
Yeah.
For most people, it is their biggest investment that they own or are going to own. So the expectation that we should just be able to pick up a phone, call you, meet me there in 20 minutes when we don't know you or know anything
Right.
about you, those days are over. There are still some rogue agents that are doing it.
Yeah.
But here in Arkansas, it's a $2,500 fine if we show a house that's listed and don't have the buyer's agency paperwork filled out. And the exclusion would be someone who wants to self-represent might call me if I have a listing and want to get in the house and look. But I would still require that they give me some basic information, ID, ask if they have talked to a lender, just get some information before we would allow them to come into the house. And then, of course, then we're there to keep an eye on things.
Yeah, we can't offer you any advice if you're going to self-represent yourself. We're just basically going to be there, stand there, and open the door.
Yeah, and make sure the house is safe and answer any questions that we can about the property because we are to get it sold, whether it's someone who's self-representing or represented by a real estate agent. All right, so when I first think of safety, and we were talking about doing this, we've kind of covered it a little before. Some reason physical safety is what first comes to mind, and it means the property's physical safety. We have had plenty of properties with bad floors
Yep.
and moisture damage underneath the house, so the subfloor is weak, or the joists that hold up the subfloor might be weak. Those kind of properties, everybody has the right to sell any property they own, no matter what condition it is, as long as it's not on the condemned list. But there are a lot of properties I just might not feel safe in showing.
Yeah, we don't want to take you through a house and have you fall through the floor, and I don't want to fall through the floor either. So
Yeah, yeah. So as far as disclosing the safety issues, if it is that the structure may not be very safe,
yeah,
I definitely tell them that up front. I let them know that I'm not comfortable about walking through the property, and so I really don't want them to. We've had investors that just still want to bully their way through. And as of now, I don't have a form that they sign off on that they've been told. But when we've been thinking about this, I believe that's something we need to come up with brokerage wide.
Yeah.
Typically, if I don't think it's safe enough to walk on, I'm not going to take anyone in there. I'm not going to walk in there myself. Therefore, I'm not letting a client of mine walk in there. And they typically will find another agent that will.
Yeah, there's always somebody that will in there.
Yeah. But, having some documentation that they have been warned.
Yeah.
And also, if it's our listing, that is what we're supposed to do, is sell that property. So people are going to want to see it, but we need to disclose the safety issues.
All right.
So physical safety of the property is a big deal to me, and the floors really what was the
Yeah,
first thing that
yeah,
came to
for
mind.
sure.
What are some other things that you were thinking of as far as safety for the property?
Yeah, I was thinking about like we need to make sure, if it's one of ours, we'll know. But if it's we're showing for another brokerage, we need to make sure that the animals are put up. Like if there's any like dogs or anything, because although they may not be vicious to their owners, like when a stranger comes in, they may not know you, and we don't want our clients getting attacked.
Right, right. So certain questions we need to ask, obviously of our own sellers, but then also of other listing agents, animals, utilities. Are the utilities on?
Right. I have a couple right now. The utilities are not on, so like when other agents ask me to show, they're like, "Hey, Kevin, is there anything I need to know?" I'm like, "Yep, you need to bring a flashlight. There's
Yeah.
no power."
Yeah. So it is our responsibility to let people know if the utilities aren't on. I'm really taking a different. I'm getting a little pickier on the listings I'll take. Honestly, it seems like more this year I've had to ask the police to come and check out a property before I would go in or before I would show it.
Right.
I've found doors that are not locked on vacant homes. I've found doors that were broken into, or ajar, windows that might have been broken. And I just feel like if it's a vacant house, my new 2026 rule is going to be I won't take a listing unless they have the utilities on and
Yeah.
all doors and windows are secure.
I like that.
So, and we shouldn't anyways, but you're not required to have the utilities on, but the doors and windows should be secure.
Yeah, we have a responsibility to keep the property secure.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. People know when it's vacant.
they do.
The
Yeah.
neighbors know, the people who walk from point A to B every day and go, there's no activity here.
Yep.
I'm going to come back and check it out later. Okay, I know it's vacant. Now I'm going to check a window. It's just, it can be really scary. There could be people that are trying to move in and find a place to stay that aren't bad people, but they should not be there, and they put us at risk if we go into a property and find that someone is boarding there.
Oh yeah, yeah, and when we go into a property, it's important that we announce our presence. That way, if there is somebody there, we're like, hey, we're here, realtor.
Yeah, it scares a client if you open the door and you go, realtor.
Yeah.
Realtor coming in. Is there anyone in here? Is what I'll announce. That is way better to do before your client shows up.
Right.
I've
yeah.
had people beat me to my appointment. Now,
have too,
not even by 5 minutes. Like they're there 20 minutes before the appointment or before I think they should be there. And they're right on top of you, ready to go in. And I'll just say, hang on a minute. But then they hear me do that and they're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And it starts the whole thing out nervous. So it is very wise for agents to show up way before their clients will and make sure on vacant properties that everything is still okay.
Have you ever showed up and had somebody respond?
Yes, I have.
I have too.
Yeah, yes, I have, and that is nerve-wracking.
It is.
And in that situation, I am very happy to give them every opportunity to get out of the house.
Right. Yeah.
If they won't get out of the house, then I am back in my car. I'm probably back in my car regardless, waiting for them to leave. And if they don't leave, I am, depends. If it's occupied, I want to know who's there.
Right.
But if my seller said no one's going to be there, and somebody hollers back, I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
And it's Mike. I don't know who Mike is. I'm going
Yeah.
to be on the phone real quick with my seller. They don't always answer right away. They may be at work doing
Right.
something and can't. But if someone's there and I don't know why they're there and they're not coming out to explain themselves, we're probably canceling that showing.
Yeah. I had to call the police before, but
Yeah.
you know.
It's I hate when you have to do that,
Yeah.
but it happens, and better to do that than think, oh, it's nothing, I'm just going to go in. And certainly don't bring anyone else into that situation with you.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. My situation was, the power was off, and then like there were some people in there, and so I wasn't going in there and clearing that building out myself.
Yeah.
So I just
yeah.
called the police, let them deal with it.
Well, so we know we would like utilities on. If you're trying to sell a property, there's just some basic things that you should do to try to let us market the property the way we should. Electric is just like I don't even understand why that's a question on whether you would have the electric on or not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
turn the electric on. We want to see what we're buying. We want to be able to show it. We don't need it to be like the creepy place that we're taking. This place is so bad that they can't afford to turn the electric on. That's what it states to me.
Yeah, and it's not good for the health of the home overall either, having that off.
It isn't. We're down south,
Right.
and
So
what's the worst thing that happens to a house without any kind of electric on here?
so Arkansas is a very humid state, so it will mold
Yeah,
if you leave
mold.
Yeah.
And that is what is ruining the subfloors of a lot of properties with crawl spaces is just dampness that's not aired out. When the subfloor just has that water underneath it all year long, and then it gets hot, and it's just moisture is just rotting out those floorboards. Now, does the electric above that help? Your heat and air guys would say yes, it helps some,
Yeah.
but you still need to have the crawl space, aired out. That's what those little boxes
Encapsulations.
are, and having the vent exposed and then closed up in the winter and things like that to let the air and moisture get out. We do a lot with encapsulation or moisture barriers.
Right. Yeah.
Moisture barriers.
Bare minimum of moisture
Yeah,
barrier.
yeah. So, but moisture is a big issue. Mold is a big issue, and so what are we told? You're supposed to have experts mitigate mold, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to come in with face masks and like suits on.
Yeah.
So if we think we have a mold issue, should we just be parading people through there? No.
It could be a health.
Yeah, it
health
could be.
hazard.
So, and some sellers don't have the money to take that on and get it fixed, and so it's disclosed that's an issue, and that again has to be disclosed to potential buyers.
Yeah.
And so, and I've had several houses like that where people still want to see it, and I'm like, wow, it's a mess. So we have a responsibility to protect them, even if they don't think they
Right,
need
yeah.
protection. So,
We have to look out for your best interest, even if you don't want us to do so.
right,
So,
or you don't care to do it
Yeah,
yourself.
right, yeah.
So we definitely are concerned about the utilities and just the safety of the house is shored up as far as locked. There's no way for anybody to get in there that shouldn't be. We want to know that the keys that we have work. What else? Property lines, little things like
Yeah.
property lines. Have you ever been out to a rural property and you're walking around and you're trying to figure out where, the stakes are or the property lines, and then you find out from a neighbor who comes out and goes, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hi,
Okay.
hi, Jeff is hiring me to sell his property, just looking
has
for
a
the property
gun.
lines." "Well, you're 10 feet over it now." And you're like, I'm so sorry. And you are, right? I mean, like, we don't want to trespass.
Right.
That is a real thing. Get into hunting lines out in the woods and be on someone's property where they've got deer cameras and whatever. And
Right.
next thing you know, you got a call, "You were on my property."
Right.
So we want to know those property lines before we start showing.
Or worse, you're showing it during hunting season, and if you're not wearing your orange or whatever, and there's people on like deer stands with guns, you always need to be careful with that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So that makes me immediately think about when we're talking about residential, we should know a house before we show it.
we should. Yeah.
So we should have already walked through it. We should have walked through it and taken a good observation of the whole house. If there's anything we're concerned about, we just write it down, hey, we're going into this room. It looks like that outlet's falling out. Let's be careful. You don't want to get shocked by
Right,
that,
yeah.
or there's some exposed wiring or things like that. And just make sure we know the house. We should know the yard and the property lines.
So do you have a safety protocol?
I do. I do. I've got, when I typically don't know someone, I now want them to come in and meet me at the office. I want a copy of their license. We're going to talk about what they are looking for or what they want to do with their property, just to have them in the office, eyes on them by someone else from me, and have that first relationship. In the case of like we have a lot of the ag and hunting properties for sale. During hunting season, we have plenty of people that come give us a quick call and go, hey, what about this property out here? Can you meet me out here? And
Or what about this? I'm going to fly into the airport. Can you come pick me up or show me that property? I want to look at it this week.
yeah. So what I do is I require, if they don't live here and they want me to represent them or as a buyer, and I don't know them, I ask them to send me a copy of their license, and I let them know that I'm going to want to be able to identify them when I first see them. And I also want to know what kind of vehicle they're driving. I did have someone fly in the beginning of the year, and they didn't know what vehicle they'd be driving because they were borrowing one from the airport, but they were happy to send me their license. And we would have had to do our buyer's agreement, via the phone and computer, me explain everything to them and them sign off on that. But if I'm seeing them for the first time, I let them know, you've already sent me your license. I park my car in a place where I can pull out, straight out, if I needed to leave quickly or I got the heebie-jeebies. And then I let them know ahead of time that for my own safety, that I will end up taking a picture of the back of their vehicle, so the make, model, and license plate are there, and I send that into my office.
That's smart.
Also, my assistant knows what time my appointment is and about how long I think it's going to be. And when I'm leaving that property and I'm safely in my car, I call her and let her know that I'm in my car and headed out. So I've had a few people say, okay, but almost everybody's like, oh, that's smart.
Once they think about it, yeah, and they kind of put themselves in your shoes,
Yeah.
they understand.
And
what-
the few that said, oh, all I had to say is, what if I were your daughter or wife?
Yeah.
And boom, that's been it. I've never had any issue with people balking at that or saying, never mind, I'll use someone else or anything. So
People don't think about it, but being a real estate agent is kind of a dangerous job.
Yeah.
Like, we're meeting people.
you don't really know in a house
right.
with bedrooms or beds,
Right. Yeah.
basements, woods,
Oh, yeah.
shovels in the shop. I mean, there's
Yeah.
could be guns in the house and,
And you're
all
talking-
sorts.
And you were talking about ag properties, like some of those are like in remote locations, like the cell service isn't always the best. So like it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Have you ever used Forewarned?
I have used Forewarn.
Okay.
Recently at one of our trainings, they brought it up again, and I thought, ooh, when I switched my phone out,
Yep.
I don't think that app carried over. And so I'm using it again, but tell us what it is.
So Forewarned's an app that a lot of agents use, and we were talking about getting your driver's license. We can look you up in the database, and it'll pull like criminal records and all that good stuff. It'll show us if you been in the slammer and what you did.
Yeah. was it last weekend or the weekend before? I have a property that is out of town. It sits on 6 acres. It's right on a highway that actually has a lot of traffic, but it sits quite a ways back. And it was an out of town agent. She didn't know the property. Still was going to show it. Never had been there. That's okay. She did the right thing. I'm getting to that. She wanted to show it that day,
Yeah.
which would have been like 5 or 6. Lights are on, but it is not occupied. And I said, it's not available tonight, but if you want to show it tomorrow. And she said, okay, I'll show it tomorrow. She sent me her credentials. I just was double checking with her the next day, a few hours before. And because I don't give out the lockbox code or whatever until I know you're really going to come.
Yep.
And so she texted me back and said, I need to cancel. And I'm like, okay. We get it all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
Especially out of town agents. But she then texts, can I call you? And yes. And so she called me and she said, Rebecca, I'm sorry to cancel last minute. She said, I remembered to check forewarn. And he has a criminal history.
Yeah.
And it was to do with sexual abuse.
Yeah.
And charges that she was not comfortable with as being a woman to show the property to someone she didn't know. And she said, I just told them I had to cancel. She said, nobody in my office, wants to take this. I said, well, okay, it's my obligation to sell the property.
Right.
I totally get what you're saying, and I think you've made a good decision. I said, I don't want to show it either. Plus, I couldn't that afternoon. I think I would have wanted maybe a partner to show it with me if I took on that. But I did say, we've got a couple agents, gentlemen, or other agents that might be able to show him on Monday, that kind of thing. So she let him know. He found another agent. They called me immediately, wanted to show it, and they did. It was fine, and everything turned out fine as far as I know. But so forewarn is a really good one. And then, not that I knew, but looking it up, there's Tether R, and that's also a way to look up criminal history of different people. And then this one was really cool. This thing called Safe Showings, and it's like a little camera. And it records the facial image of the person coming in upon entry.
No way.
And immediately alerts emergency contacts if an agent triggers a little, like they have the app or something.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting.
That's so cool. I never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a real safe agent. There's several other options, but so I think you should check it out if they're strange. If they're strangers to you, it takes just a minute.
Yeah.
What else as far as that? So my safety protocol works for me. I really want all my agents to use it. We should always have someone knowing where we are and that we have an appointment.
For sure. I like to take the self-defense classes at the real estate convention. I like to wrestle around with the jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. That is amazing. I was on the other side of the wall, and it was really, it was a real class, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
That's amazing. So with all different age people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got partnered up with an older lady. She was nice. She was real sweet. And then I had to partner up with the instructor, too, because we were kind of shorthanded. So.
Yeah. Well, good.
They were both putting hurt on me.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, so, so safety classes, and then there's different things we can carry.
Yeah.
A lot of people tell us we shouldn't carry a gun if we have concealed carry license. That's probably not the best idea to carry that on you when you're showing a house. But there's other options, right?
Yeah, you can carry like mace, a Kubaton.
What about a taser?
I feel like I'd get the taser used on me. Probably.
I'm not so sure that I have. I don't know. I don't know that I don't know. I think I might hit the wrong thing. I'd be so nervous to pull a trigger on a taser.
Right.
I think that I should find someone who has a taser and see if I could just pull the trigger once and see what that's like.
Yeah, we should bring it to the office. We could mess around with it up here.
You know how people, when they first, if they ever fire a gun and it's the first time, I
Yeah.
remember myself, well, I don't remember the exact, but I remember that I was really nervous about pulling the trigger
Yeah.
and feeling the reaction of the gun. That's probably how people are with tasers. So if you've never done it, I don't think you should be carrying one.
Yeah, I had some friends that had them, and but I'm not real comfortable with tasers or mace. Like, I feel more comfortable with like a firearm, but I've been using them all my life.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I carry mace, if I try to spray somebody, I feel like not only is it going to get in their eyes, but it's probably going to get in mine as well. So.
Yeah, yeah. So when we show ag properties, it is very common to have a gun.
Right.
And you need to make sure you let your client know that, and they probably have one too, and they need to let you know.
Right.
Just depending on where you're at and what season it is, and
Right.
things with wild boar. Honestly, snakes are one of the most common things we
Right.
might run into. But if you see one, you're probably just going to kind of divert around it and not necessarily pull out your gun.
Right.
But black bear,
Yeah.
I'm so glad I've never seen a bear in the woods.
Yeah, I went camping one time, and it was in the county, in the park we were camping at. They said they had black bear, so I
Yeah.
was glad I didn't get mauled by a bear.
They're
'Cause
common,
they were
but
like, they were like, be sure and keep your food locked up. The park ranger was like, okay.
yeah. One last point about tasers and mace and things like that. If you're in law enforcement or you're in the military, you're not allowed to use those things until they have been used on you.
Oh yeah.
So why do you think they do that? So that they get an understanding of how,
Deadly.
right, what it feels like, how to do it right. So let's not just go grab stuff and think we're going to
Right.
use it for the first time on someone in an emergency situation and be effective.
Right.
So,
you got to be responsible.
yeah. Location. And I'm not just talking about a bad neighborhood. That's really not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about secluded locations.
Yeah, a lot of hunting properties, they're not in town, of course, so they're in some remote areas, and the cell service isn't always the best. So yeah.
Yeah. So just knowing that, do I have access, but right, will I have service? Will I have service when I'm at the back of the woods?
Right.
Things like that. Also, properties that are really secluded, people might take up resident in them.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And so
they
that's
have like some vagrants or squatters or whatever you want to call them.
yeah. We've already talked about pets, but pets are a real common issue, I think, for safety.
Right.
And you brought up, you like dogs, but you don't know if this dog's going to like you.
Right.
My own dog is a Great Dane, and she's a wuss, but she doesn't sound like she's a wuss.
Mm-hmm.
And UPS does not want to come up my driveway because he probably has experienced a lot of not nice dogs.
Right.
So I even understand that. I'm not in any way upset that he doesn't want to come up my driveway. So typically, I have it delivered to my office. But if I've been home for some reason and somehow it's being delivered there, I'll go down the driveway. If you're wearing a hat,
Yeah.
my dog is upset and does not trust you.
Yeah.
If you are a man with a hat on, she's not going to bite you, but she's going to stand her ground.
Right.
If you are a man without a hat, it's better for you.
Yeah.
And then if you're a woman without a hat, she's just like, she'll come right up to you like, hey. But yeah, so dogs are, my dog, who has never bit anyone, can really, really get triggered by a hat.
Yeah.
So you just never know when people go, oh, they're nice.
Yeah.
I've been bit 5 times by a dog.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So I'm like, take your nice, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, they're safe. Don't worry about it.
Right. Yeah.
Clamp on my hand, bit my arm, things like that. So we want to know about pets, and also about just escapees, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you never know.
I don't want to let someone's cat out of the house because I didn't know There was a
Yeah.
cat in the house, and that is not an outdoor cat.
Yeah, you get the text later. It's like, hey, did you let the cat out? It's like, I didn't know there was one in
I
there.
didn't know there was a cat,
Yeah.
and yeah, it flew between our legs, and we
Yeah.
spent an hour trying to get it back in
Right.
the
Yeah.
house. Thanks for telling me.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
So it's happened. It's happened one time to me where it took me forever to get that cat back in the house. And then it's happened a couple times where I was able to grab it real quick and put it in the house.
Yeah.
But that, I don't know, that stresses me out. So
What is the weirdest house you ever showed? Like the weirdest pet, I guess.
I don't know that there's been a weird pet.
I was in a house one time that had a snake.
Yeah, that I have not.
Yeah,
I have
It
not.
was in a fish aquarium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They kind of stink.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It did.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen ferrets and, fish tanks, things like that, but no, I've never.
Yeah, fish tanks. Are
Never showed a
common,
house with a snake yet. And that wouldn't bug me as long as I knew it was,
Yeah.
properly sealed. My biggest issue is just knowing they're there
Right.
and asking, can you please kennel your dogs?
Right.
Could you please take them away for the showing? Because even with a dog kenneled, there's been some sweeties in their kennels. They don't even bark at us. We just say, hey, and we move on. Then there's some that just bark their heads off.
I showed a house, and it wasn't our listing. I got an appointment, permission from the agent, and they knew that we were coming. I was on time, and we got there, and there's this big Rottweiler looking at us through the blinds in the window, and I'm like, I think they forgot about the showing. And then anyway, I went up to the door to ring the doorbell, and the dog's just going off.
Nuts.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going in there.
No, that's what I'd get back in my car and make a call for sure.
I did, yeah.
I don't ever want a loose pet or dog at all when I'm showing. I don't think I am not that afraid of pets or dogs. If you tell me they're safe, I'm pretty much going to believe you, but I'll still, like, if they bark a certain way when I show up, I'm going to be like, yeah, but they don't like me. But I just think for my client's sake, there's a lot of people who are terrified of dogs.
Right. So that was a situation. I wasn't going to take them in there. It was a mother and her kids, get them bit by a dog. So
Right, yeah. So you just moving on. We'll
just
reschedule.
moving on. So we went and looked at some others, and we made the call, and we ended up coming back to that one. And then the lady held the dog in the yard while we walked around and looked at her house.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they've driven, I've had people drive their dogs while their house is being shown or
Right,
whatever, and it works. One last thing is weather. So,
Are you showing many houses during tornadoes and thunderstorm warnings?
which is a real thing, especially
Yeah.
for us in the spring.
Right,
we're
yeah.
we're there.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes they just whip up on you.
Yeah, I know I've had to cancel a few, just like, we were really looking forward to going and seeing the houses, but like there was severe thunderstorms or tornado watches. So it's like, I think we need to reschedule.
Yeah. Or we've had an ice storm or something like that.
Right, yeah.
But knowing the weather is important regardless.
yeah.
Here, if a house does not have AC on and it's the middle of summer,
Yeah.
we're 95 degrees out and that house is probably 125, 130
Oh, yeah, it's
inside.
cooking.
That's not a very safe showing.
No, definitely not.
So just know your weather, know your clients, know your weather, know the property,
Right.
know if the utilities are on. Dogs, we've kind of gone over that pretty good. What do you think the seller should be warned about? So we're getting a listing, you're
Okay.
talking to your seller. What are some of the warnings you give them for their property?
So, a lot of my listings, the owners, they're still living there while it's being shown. So I always tell them, I'm like, we need to try to, like, one, we need to keep the house kind of picked up and clean, because we want people walking through here. But any valuables that you have, like wedding rings, jewelry, like, let's make sure that stuff's secure. I'm going to stay with them, but, like, I can't watch them 100%
No,
of
you
the
might have
time.
those little pickpocket experts that
Right.
just can, like, get
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah, and also, like, we're in the South, people love to hunt, so let's make sure that our guns are secured in the gun cabinet and locked up and put away, because we don't want anybody getting hurt.
Yeah. Little things for safety and privacy would be just be aware that maybe some of your personal photos and things, you know, people sometimes go, "Can I take a picture of this room?"
Yes.
And you're like, "It's online."
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what we think.
Right.
But most agents go, "Sure." So, some people are very protective and don't put their kids online and things like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when we're doing our listing photos, it's always important to remind them that if they don't want those in the pictures, that they
Yep.
might take photos of kids off the
Oh yeah.
walls or anything that's super valuable and could show up in a photo that might be online and people go, "Whoa, like, thank you. That's I just cased that joint."
Oh, right. Yeah. Because we're going to put it into the MLS, and it's going to pull to hundreds of websites.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be everywhere. So
People are
anything
like,
you don't want online, put up or take down.
yeah. Yeah. Also, prescription drugs.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And it's not just in the bathroom. It can be on the kitchen counter. It can
Right.
be on the nightstand. Things that we just have our habit. Like, I know where my vitamins are kept,
Right.
and I have a closet where I put like Tylenol and all that. And even at my house, I keep my one prescription in a drawer.
Yeah.
But I've definitely seen prescription drugs sitting out.
Yeah.
And where's the most obvious place?
I keep mine in the bathroom.
Yeah.
In the cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, a lot of people do have a medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
But it seems like more and more people are just using drawers now for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so typically people aren't going through like all your drawers when they look at a house,
Yeah.
but they definitely want to look inside the kitchen cabinets.
Oh yeah.
And they might even in the bathroom. I don't really ever go look in these drawers in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But, if they're getting like where they're really serious about it and they want to see if anything's leaking under the sink, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's just, I think it's important to have prescription drugs during a showing totally unavailable.
Right.
Plus, even if they don't steal it, it's a little bit
It's kind of embarrassing.
well, I don't know, but I mean, if it's like certain kinds of medication, you
Yeah.
may not want the community. What are we, like 8,000 some people here? I may
Yeah.
not want someone to know that I take that little, is it the blue pill or the purple pill?
Yeah. I think it's blue. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, those kind of things. So put it up.
So I've heard.
Yeah, we don't need it stolen. We don't need anyone accused. And that's also it. Not only the protection of our client,
Right.
but accusations.
Yes. Yeah.
So having that conversation up front is really important. And then what the cats and dogs put up for the dog and cat safety.
Right. Yeah. It's for everybody. So, yeah.
Yeah. We talked a lot about our safety from animals or them escaping, but as a seller, I'm going to be like, I got a dog in the house.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling me. Where is the dog going to be during showings?
Yeah.
It would be better not to have them at all there.
Oh yeah.
Okay. If they're in the backyard, that means we can't go look at the backyard.
Yeah.
If you put them in the garage, that means we can't look at the garage.
I want to look at the garage and backyard.
So those conversations are important, and it is for safety of everybody, but also the pet themselves.
Right.
So, yeah. What about all personal papers, identifying papers?
Yeah, we need to put those up too.
Jeez, it's like you have to worry about everything today, don't you?
I know. Like, gosh.
You can find out almost everything online,
Right.
but it's not true really that everybody has access to everything about
Yeah.
you. So you have your social security and administration form out. Like, you could easily find that
Yep.
at a lot of people's houses, especially our elder clients and things like that. Social security numbers, any kind of identifying detail that might lead to identity theft.
Yeah.
Credit card statements.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know what they could do with those because they're kind of blocked out, but credit cards,
Right.
money,
Money.
collectors, things.
Right. Yeah, like sports memorabilia. Like.
Honestly, when you're selling your house, it's better to depersonalize it anyways.
Yeah, it really is.
But a lot of people don't, do they?
No.
I mean, that when you first went and looked at it and gave them an idea of, looking at it so you could give them comps and, just
Yeah.
give them a whole marketing plan and strategy. The way it looks that day is probably how it looks every time we show it.
Right.
And so, I don't know. Let's move on. So, what about buyers? For buyers' safety, what's important to do?
I think they should get to know their real estate agent first. They shouldn't. They should want to like come in and interview me.
Yeah.
Like, cause like maybe they don't like me. Maybe they want to go talk to you.
Okay, so that's a really good, that's a different look on safety, but
Yeah.
why waste your time with the first agent if
Right.
you don't even know them or have a good feeling about them?
Right. Yeah. This is a big decision, and you want to know that your agent is competent and it's going to do a good job for you. And if you come in my office and have stuff thrown everywhere and I can't answer any of your questions, I'm like, well, why would you want to pick me to be your agent?
Right. So, in that angle of safetiness, I'm thinking as a buyer, is this guy going to represent me best?
Yeah.
Is my offer going to be safe in this guy's
Right.
hands?
He might lose it.
Right. What if he's not quick enough to get it turned in?
Right.
Little things like that. So that's a good point. Knowing who's going to represent you. I think everybody thinks, well, duh. And I'm like, no, I have strangers call me all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And they might have seen advertisements or they might have seen that I've done a lot of marketing or whatnot. But a lot of times it's just somehow like they've picked a name. I'd like to
Yeah.
think that it's more than that.
Right,
But
yeah.
when you don't know this person from Adam and we ask, how did you hear about me?
Yep.
Oh, I just called the number
Yep.
at the office and then I picked 1 through 5 and you were the one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
I won the lottery.
yay. And I'm happy that they've called me. But, a lot of times it's not through referral. It can just
Right.
be kind of a cold call.
Yep.
So that's a good point. They should know us.
They should interview us to make sure we're not killers.
Yeah. And in that interview, we want to make sure that that agent is familiar with the area that we're looking in. And that they will be familiar with the properties that we say we would like to go see.
Right.
Because if they've never been to that property, the agent, then how are they reducing my risk
Right.
of anything happening when I go look at it for the first time?
Typically, your home is going to be your most valuable thing that you ever buy. So you're spending a lot of money on this. So you want to make sure you do your homework.
Yeah. A house purchase is most people's biggest investment.
Yeah.
And so you're right. It should be treated, it's very important and it should be a serious matter. It can be enjoyable too, for sure.
Yeah.
It should be. But I mean, we need to take our jobs really serious as
Right.
real estate agents and we need to protect the interests of our clients.
Yep.
Yeah. And we call that the fiduciary duty, don't we?
We do. Yes.
Okay. Okay, what else? Buyer. Okay, we're going to go look at this house.
What about proper footwear?
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go look at this house, and I am telling you, I've tried to get a path to the front door,
Yep.
but the grass is way overgrown.
Mm-hmm.
It is tick season. You might want to wear pants.
Right. Pants. Closed-toe shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This house is needing some, this is an investor's house, and we're needing some major work done here. I can't tell you. There could be some exposed nails, things like that. I
Yeah.
suggest you wear some boots.
Yep.
Yeah. Attic. I don't know. I hate going into the attics, but
Yeah. I don't really.
I
go
don't
in
have an
attics.
agent helmet
Yeah.
or
It's fine.
okay, or like, or what is that? Like a construction zone hat?
Oh, a hard hat.
Yeah, just in case you go. I have hit my head on a nail in an attic before.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Ouch.
and it hurt like a son of a. So there you go. Got to go make sure you get that tetanus updated. So
Yep.
little things like that. It's so stupid, but if it's a klutzy thing that can happen, it might happen to me.
Yeah.
So it might happen to our clients.
Yeah, like talking about the attic. Like I had somebody pull the attic staircase down one time, and the potential buyer started like climbing up there, and he broke like 2 or 3 steps and fell inside the house. I was like, oh my
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
when the attic comes up,
Yeah.
you know, for the most part, and I'll do just about anything. I
Yeah.
don't think this is a man's job or a
Yeah.
woman's job, although I do have a few things that I like to at my house call the man's job
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because it's
Right.
convenient.
Yeah.
But so I have no problem going up into an attic, going down into a basement, but if we don't know those attic stairs or steps or ladder steps are
Yeah.
safe, we really shouldn't have our clients do that. Go up there.
Yeah.
We should know first that it can take it. Um, there's weight requirements on those.
Yeah, like I was in the bathroom, showing the bathroom to the wife, whatever, and I was kind of distracted talking to her, and he in the hallway, he pulled that staircase down, and next thing I know, I heard a crash, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I said worse than that. I felt bad.
Yeah,
They were,
no, that it's scary.
it scared
Yeah,
me.
like ours, we got a heavy duty attic ladder when we built our house,
Yeah,
and it's pretty sturdy. Like
right.
it doesn't rickety rock when you climb up it.
Mm.
But when I'm going up and I'm trying to bring stuff down, like at Christmas, and my husband's up on level, step 4, and I'm on step 2 or wherever,
Yeah.
and we're handing it, that thing is like,
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, we've exceeded the weight limit
yeah,
together.
right.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of them are like 350.
Yeah,
So I'm telling on myself, but still, or we're right real close there.
yeah,
So, things like that you've got to be careful with. Just dressing appropriately, letting them know, listen, there's no AC on this house. It's 95 degrees.
yep,
We got to get in there during daylight hours, but it would be better to look at it first thing in the morning
right.
for, just heat reasons. And if you can open up windows ahead of time to air it out a little, cool it down a little, that's a good thing to do. And then I feel like a big thing I have to talk to my buyers always about is when we go in,
Security.
there might be a security camera.
Yeah.
Or there is.
Yeah.
We should know if there's a security camera.
Right.
But I am not fooled that there may be a nanny cam that they don't want to tell us about.
Yeah, I just always assume that I'm being recorded anytime I step out of my house. So, and I normally tell my clients this. I'm like, we're going to go in the house, and anything you don't want the sellers to know, don't talk to me about it in the house. We'll have that conversation in the office or in the car or over the phone.
Yeah. And they forget about it.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll remind them.
Yeah. I just say, hey, let's have that conversation outside. And what we're referring to is your buyer doesn't need to just be like, I don't care what it takes. I want this house.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you just.
They just showed their hand.
Right. Yeah. You lost all your. leverage,
The poker game is over.
Yeah,
You've lost.
yeah.
You may have won the house, but there's
yeah.
probably not going to be a whole lot of negotiation there.
Nope.
Also, I more than that, derogatory comments about a house,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe they still are going to make maybe at that time they're going to make an offer. The seller may be so offended that they're not really going. They're too house proud,
Yeah.
and we get that. Oh, house pride.
No, no.
That's a safety issue, isn't it?
It is.
It's like if you don't want to sell your house,
Yeah.
just put it on a pedestal that it really doesn't belong on.
Yeah.
Looking through rose-colored glasses. But I think that one of the best things we can do as listing agents is when we do that walkthrough and we're just gathering information about the house, the property, its values, and a lot of times we're going to come back and give them, just we're going to present with them what the comps show and what we think they could possibly get for their house, where they should start to list it. Meeting with them again, like maybe not that first time, but the second time, and say, can we walk back through the house, and point out a few things to you.
Right.
That really is our responsibility to go, we see our house all day long. We don't even notice this or that or that. And so I just want to
Yeah.
point it out that other agents are going to notice it and point it out to their clients.
Yeah.
Buyers might notice it, and that's doing them. We're professionally taking, those things, bringing them up and saying this could be a safety issue. This could be something that hurts the sale of your house, and let them know before other people notice it.
Right, yeah. We have like a duty, to point out like material defects, so if we see it for
Yeah.
our clients.
Yeah.
Like, you may live here and you may like forget there's a hole in the wall here, but I need to point that out.
Yeah.
So,
I just a few months ago, behind this behind this picture frame, there's a hole in the wall. And I know I need to fix it, but
yeah.
I didn't yet, so I just put the picture over it.
Yeah,
Okay.
good job.
Thank you. It does keep you from seeing it, but now that you're selling it, we've got to make sure people know about it. Inspectors don't go around and take photos off the walls that I've ever seen.
I never seen that either.
If you're watching this and you've seen inspectors look behind art or pictures on the wall, I'd be really interested in knowing
Yeah,
that, because
let us
saying it out loud, I'm like, yeah, that seems like a gimme, right?
Yeah.
What if it took them 4 times with a hammer to get the right nail to go in, and that wall is bashed up to pieces behind that piece of
We're
art?
going to find that stud eventually.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, so safety's a big deal.
It is, yeah.
And sometimes we all get a little excited quickly.
We do.
And in that excitement, we might not be using our best judgment and taking time to go, okay, let's think first. Let's get a
Yeah.
plan together. Let's make a plan, make an appointment. Let's, know the property we're showing,
Yeah.
and then give the clients whatever information they need to have ahead of time
Oh, yeah.
for their safety. So, yeah, did we cover it all?
Yeah, I think we got it all. Is there anything that we missed?
I really don't think so. The one thing I just thought of that wasn't on our list is it's really important not to be at your house when it's shown.
Yeah.
Now, how could that be safety? I don't know. I don't really want people to know about the people that live in my house if I'm
Right.
selling it. I don't want them to see pictures of my kids.
Yeah.
I'm really protective
Yeah.
of my kids' identity,
Yeah.
and also what right do I have, to show these things off that might not be me, photos of other people.
Right.
So, and I'm kind of severe in that way, I guess, or a little bit OCD, but I just, I don't want people to come into my house if you're invited. But if I have my house listed, I would have all the personal photos down.
Yeah, I think I'd take them down too.
I would not have any mail or bills out.
Yeah,
And
put all that up. Yeah.
and I honestly think I'd do that even if I wasn't a real estate agent.
Well, like any like personal, like legal documents. Say like example, like maybe the reason you're selling the home, you're going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want that like laying on the table, and
Yeah.
then somebody walks in, they're like, "Well, he has to sell the house."
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna use that in negotiation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think we've covered it pretty good. There's certainly other safety issues that we have neglected to bring up. There's so many, really, that we need to think of. We were really thinking of the big ones, the most common ones. Share with us if you've ever been on a tour of a house and had a safety issue or incident, and let us know what that was. It tunes us up as realtors, doesn't
yeah,
it?
drop them in the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Other
What it
things
is.
that we might not have experienced or we've not read about or been taught about
Yeah.
that could be real concerns now.
I'm sure we'll think about a bunch, after we get done recording this.
Could be, yeah.
So,
So keep yourself safe. Make sure you work with an agent that safety is a concern. If you are a buyer or seller, ask your agent, what are you going to do to keep my property safe during tours? What are you going to do to keep me safe or to look out for my family's safety when we're touring this house or considering buying a house?
Yeah.
And let's see what they say.
yeah, ask them what their safety protocol is. So,
Got to have one.
gotta have one. Until next time, I'm Kevin,
I'm Rebecca.
and we're keeping it real estate.